Hello and welcome to another episode of the People's Podcast. I am your host, Paul Vibes, local motivational speaker. Our show is all about spirituality, self-development, connection, wellness. Please be sure to subscribe and follow us on a variety of different social media pages. If you know somebody that would be a great guest to our show or sponsor, please reach out. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Paul Vibes here. Welcome to another episode of the People's Podcast. We have Celia Werner. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you. I mean, I was on your podcast a few weeks ago. It was so much fun. And I was like, I need to get you on my show. You got great energy and great vibes. So, thanks for coming on.
No problem. I can't believe it. It's been it's been weeks now that you've been on, since you've been on my show. You were on the 6th.
I know. Time flies. It feels like just yesterday, though. It does.
Yeah, 100%.
So you have great vibes, and you're always like supporting other people. I know I picked your brains a few times on a lot of different subjects, and you're always there, willing to help. So, I really appreciate that support that you give, not just to me, but the rest of the community. And I kept seeing you have amazing guests on your show, and I was like, I want to put you on the other side. I want to interview you because you have a great vibe.
Well, I am here and I'm ready to answer any question that you got. So
I like to start off with just checking in, like, how you feeling? How you doing? I know this is a challenging time, and I know, you're somebody that likes to keep busy and always moving, but how are you keeping up with your mental health and self-care?
Well, today, as you know, has been a crazy day. My refrigerator stopped working. So that threw off my day. My guest for my show today actually ended up having an allergic reaction and going to the hospital. So
during the show or beforehand?
Before the show, but it was a little crazy today. But in terms of like keeping up with my mental health, I've been just trying to make sure that even though I'm doing work during the day, I stop at a certain time each day, like probably around 7 o'clock, whatever it may be, to like relax and like take care of myself. Because even on like days like today, I got like 1,000,001 emails. Everyone wants a response and all of that. So like, I need to be able to like take care of that, but also take care of, I guess, me in the in the world that we currently live in.
Yes, and you're good at it. And I saw a video of you breaking down your whole studio to make room for like your living room. You're saying that for the weekends, at least the weekend that you posted, that you like to kind of keep the weekends to you. How's that going with really trying to separate work and then your enjoyment time?
So it's been a little weird because there was like 6 weeks there that I was just doing work every single day because I wanted to front load all of the stuff from my podcast. I wanted to get to like a really good number by the end of quarantine, thinking that quarantine would have been done right now. So I was doing a lot of work on that, but now I'm taking steps to build in like a little bit of me time and, build in a little more time for getting away. Because, like you can keep going and going and going, but if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to burn out.
Absolutely.
So I am trying my best to, take the weekends off, break down the studio because it is my studio, but it's also my living room, like you said, and just create space.
And that's what we like to do in this show. And I feel like when you have people on, you have the same thing. You bring people on from all walks of life. And I have to say, I met somebody great. I met a teacher from one of the inner city schools who's going to possibly have me speak to their students. And that was somebody that I connected with through one of your podcasts that I did with you. So, your show is really doing a great job at connecting people.
That's the goal. So I'm glad that you guys were able to make that connection. And I know exactly who you're talking about. And she's a wonderful teacher. She does English. And I think that you'll have a really good time if you're able to, talk to those students.
Thank you.
If you haven't already. I don't know what your timeline is, but.
Yeah, I guess I don't want to give too much information away. But yeah, it's going to happen when the time is right. But they're very excited about it. But that's the point. I feel like shows like you and I, it's not just to have that conversation. It's to put it out there and see what people get interested in, and then they get to make those connections as well. And my philosophy, I want to hear your philosophy is with your podcast, but my whole mission is like, these are conversations that I would be having typically anyway, or I would want to have. And even if one person watches it, that gets something from it. And I feel the same way when I give a talk. If one person walks away and it's like, I learned something or I benefited because of that, that makes it worth it for me. How are you? What's your mindset when you are organizing your shows?
So I have a very similar mindset to you. Originally my initial show was doing like different kinds of camera reviews and stuff on YouTube, but then once like obviously everything with the pandemic started, I was like, all right, well I'm gonna bring on people I know and people I don't know as well, but want to get to know, and we're gonna talk a little bit about different topics so that, you know, I can educate and get information out to people. And if it helps a couple people, then, you know, it helps a couple people. But, you know, it really will make a difference because I've had a bunch of different kinds of guests. And, you know, one of them happened to be a divorce lawyer. I know that's not the funnest topic, but, you know, it helped a lot of people. It reached like 2,000 views or something. But
Wow.
it's information people don't want to ask the questions for. Like, they don't want to be that person that says, hey, what do I do about alimony? Like,
Yes.
who wants to ask that questions? But,
Yes.
you know, people need the information, and if I'm able to get them that information and make their life like this much easier, it's worth it.
And there's always a positive way to look at things. As you know, I'm all about good vibes. I don't know what gives it away, but it's all about positive vibes, Paul vibes. And you know, that for divorce, so that could be new. That could be new beginnings, new starts, like a
Mm-hmm.
new journey. They get to meet new people. They get to start in a way fresh and start new. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's always a positive way to look at those situations. And you know, I want to hear more about some of the connections that you've made, because you see a lot of people who, with this epidemic going on, there's a sense of disconnect. You're not being able to hug your friends and your loved ones and go out and socialize in big groups. But you also see a lot of great connections happening. Hence, you know, the podcast that we do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
groups like VBT with Rob and Melissa. We got
Uh-huh.
the Movers Group, and there's so much great like connections being made. Do you have any stories of maybe some of your guests or connections that have been made because of your podcast that is, you know, maybe worth sharing with the viewers?
Well, obviously, connecting with you is a good one.
Uh, I'll send you the check later for that comment.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I got you. But also, you know, connecting with people like the movers and connecting with people like VBT has been awesome. And, you know, I've been trying my best to help with all of the different things that they're doing over at VBT, including like helping them a little bit with consulting with some of the things that they should be, you know, doing to get the information out there, helping with, you know, they're doing a big, what's it called? A telethon
Fundraiser.
fundraiser.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm just trying to do what I can to help everyone.
You do a
And
great job, I gotta say. Like, I don't know how you get back to me so quickly. I'm like, wow. Like, I would be okay you getting back to me like a couple of days later, but you're always so good at getting back, and I'm sure that's something that you have to balance. But you're always so giving to others, and I appreciate even the research that you do for me. As you know, I'm in the market for a new camera and microphone, and I really appreciate your you're always giving. You're always supportive. So thank you.
no problem.
It
No
feels good
problem.
though. It feels good. Tell me more about, you know, some of the interesting guests that you've had on. Maybe even backtrack for the people who don't know about your podcast. Tell us a little bit more about how you got. So you're saying you used to do camera reviews and different things for cameras and products, and then you started getting into more podcasts.
Yeah. So, basically, like, what my podcast is it is Candid Combos with Celia Werner, and what it like does is I bring people on from all different industries, all different experiences, so that we can have like a conversation where new perspectives can be brought and people can be educated on different topics. So, like I said, I used to do a ton of camera reviews. I still do the camera stuff, but because I'm a photographer, videographer, brand specialist, and now I guess web host.
Do it
But
all.
I do my best, and you know, I figured getting into the podcast space would be a really cool opportunity because on a usual regular week, I'm pretty busy. I'm running around on shoots and I'm taking care of things. And this idea was in the back of my head for a very long time, but I was like, how am I actually going to execute this? Am I going to actually have time to, you know, sit down with people and make this content? But, you know, with the like ease of access of different streaming platforms and, you know, people now actually like they can't say they don't know how to use Zoom. Like,
What's
uh,
Zoom?
what? What? like it makes it a lot easier to, you know, like facilitate having different guests on, because now they kind of understand the different things going on.
I just gotta say, I gotta totally just change this. I like your shirt. You're very vibrant, and you got the
Thank
red
you.
cup. Are we partying or what tonight?
I mean,
It's the
partying
red
would be
party
great.
cup.
Well, you know, I
I
think
won't
everyone
judge you. No judging here. You can drink whatever you want. Anything
I
good
think
in the cup?
everyone can use a good party right now.
What's in the drink? Anything good?
Gatorade?
All right, all right. I got the Paul Vibes, Good Vibes mug. We got to get you one of these.
That would be awesome. I look like I'm about to play Flip Cup over here.
That's
So
what I was saying. I said, listen, the summer vibes are going. I wouldn't judge you. I wouldn't. We all got to relax a little bit. But you have some
definitely.
great guests, and I just love how you do all the live broad streaming, and you've kind of inspired me to really push myself out of my comfort zone and do more live stuff.
Hmm.
I'm planning by next week. I have a couple of guests lined up, and I'm going to do it live. So
Oh,
hopefully
awesome.
someone there to support me and not laugh too hard by all the trial and errors that I have during it. But, you know, it's a
Hey, I
learning.
have full faith in you. I know you can do it.
I do. Now, the podcasting is kind of new. I mean, what are your goals with this show? Because you do so much, like you said, you got your production side, you got the podcast, you do stuff with different products and photography. Are you the type of person where you just take it all on, or do you have like a goal for the future with your show to do it in-house, or is there any, you know, new things that you want to add with your show, or is it just day by day?
So I think right now it's day by day. I do have a plan in terms of how I'm going to run it in the future, in terms of like, you know, how many days a week I'm going to be doing it and things like that. Because right now I'm doing 5 days a week live, which is a lot. And when I started it, I was doing 7 days. So I did like 5 weeks at 7 days. I think I'm going to do 5 weeks at 5 days, and I'm going to bring it down one more time to 3, just because at the beginning, I was trying to push to get as many eyes on the show and realize that I'm doing the show as possible, which it worked. It worked pretty well. And now I'm trying to keep it going and also, you know, be able to provide value for other aspects in addition to the show. Like I want to be able to continue to do the camera review stuff, but, you know, booking and getting prepped for all of the different shows takes time. So I'm trying to allocate the time a little differently, and I'm actually about to. I'm writing some courses to teach people
Wow.
about different things, and I need to allocate time for that as well. So I'm doing one about like how to be on camera, like how to develop your on-camera personality, persona, whatever you may call it, and I'm doing one about, you know, using like your cell phone to do a bunch of branding things for yourself, your business, whatever it may be. So those are some of the projects I'm working on right now. And yes, I do love my show, and I'm expecting it to like continue to do well, and I'm really happy about how it's been received. But I want to kind of go from, hey, I have 1,000,001 spots, to, hey, like I want to bring you on because I want to bring you on, not just because I'm trying to fill days,
Yes,
if that
yes.
makes sense.
And I agree. I think the reason why we're getting away with doing so many shows now is because of the downtime. I think you agree. Once we get busier, we're going to have less time available. So we're not going to
Yeah.
just be like, who the heck wants to come on the podcast? You know, we're going to be a little more selective. But I think it's cool that you and I especially, we are kind of letting a lot of people on our show because there are a lot of talented people. But then again, we also have a lot of time. So, and I love your video. You did a video, and you could talk more in depth about that. I love this theme of giving value. And you did a short video about how it seems kind of obvious, but we often forget about it. You know, the importance of putting value in our posts and our videos. You know, what is the viewer getting from this? And what is your thoughts on that? Can you talk more about that? You know, giving value, because I'm sure there's a lot of people here that want people to be more engaged with their posts and be more interested in what they're doing.
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, I made like a 7-minute video or whatever it was, you know, talking about the importance of value in your content. Because as like someone that's been on a bunch of podcasts, I've been talking a lot about branding, and it's always the same thing. Like, you need to put value in your posts, because like people post to post, or for something like a business, they'll just be like, oh, I have this picture, so obviously I'm going to use it. But if you take a second to think and be like, all right, what is my goal? what am I trying to, do? Am I trying to help people? Am I trying to teach people? Am I trying to just make people smile?
Mm-hmm.
And you need to figure out what value you can match with, obviously, the picture. Today, I'm kind of dating this, but today I posted a picture of me doing a photo shoot outside with a mirror. And then I followed that up with, this is how I did it. And this is like something that you guys can do at home, and like giving people like a little bit of information so that they can, take what they consumed and put it into their life, if that makes sense. And that's what I try and do with all of my stuff on Instagram, because, people are there, people are watching, and like we said earlier, if there's like one person that gets helped by that post or like whatever I typed or however I did it, it's worth all of the work that goes into it.
Definitely. And what I found too, there's a lot of people who I'll be on the community, obviously back when things were a little bit more open, and I would hear from people who I didn't even know were watching my stuff. Like, I love your episodes. And what's amazing is you think the only people watching are the ones liking and commenting and sharing. And that's very important, as you know. But it's interesting to see, especially the older generation who's not going to like and share everything, but there's a lot of eyes on things that you don't even know. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, 100%. I put out a status the other day and was like, hey, if my content's been helping you guys, like, can you let me know? And some people DM'd me, some people reached out on that status and was like, hey, yeah, no, like I just brought up your video in conversation, or, oh no, I was doing XYZ. And like all of the feedback has been really positive, and it's been like, when you put something out, you don't know who's going to watch it, who's going to get helped, etc. But it's great to have someone say, yes, you're doing an awesome job.
Well, you are doing an awesome job, and I look at you as a good friend now, and just like an overall great human being. And like I said, I'm glad that we networked and we connected. And as you know, I told you I want to get deep with this podcast. We talked about the podcast, about marketing, and all that stuff. But I like to get deep, and I want to hear about you. Like, what obviously we know about you started the podcast and all that great stuff, but what led you into this field? What other interests and hobbies did you have to go through in life, or challenges that you overcame that kind of put you on the path to do the things that you do? I always get very interested, as you know, with those topics.
So what did I do? I've had a camera since like middle school. So obviously getting into photography and videography was a no-brainer for me. And I, in high school, wanted to be a YouTuber. So that was my inspiration for, hey, I have to find a college I can go to that I will be able to learn the skills that I need to make really cool videos and take really awesome pictures. And maybe one day I'll be a YouTuber.
YouTube Academy.
Yes, that does definitely help. YouTube Academy. But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it. And then I worked in news, and I worked in reality, and I worked in some commercial stuff. And I realized that corporate America wasn't my thing. So I wanted to work with small businesses. And, that's how Celia Werner Productions went from, hey, I just got this LLC so that if I get sued, I won't get, sued bad. And turned it into like, my full-time gig.
And how many years ago was this? Because it seems like you've gone over, you dabble in a lot of different things. So I'm sure you've gone through like an evolution. But how many years ago was this?
Well, I incorporated in 2013. I started doing event photography in 2011, and then I went full-time in, I would say, late 2016, early 2017 with my own stuff. I was always doing the events on the side, so I don't know, I've been working on it for a while.
Wow. Well, it definitely shows you could just tell the quality. I'm always getting tips from you and looking at your material, and it's amazing. You really do a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you enjoy it? Do you when you do this every day, do you look at it as a job, or just some days feel like working more than others? How is the daily grind for you?
I feel like it depends on the day, because a day like today was a little hectic, but like I did a little bit of work over the weekend, and it felt really stress-free and fun. So I think it depends on what the projects are, and like, how many emails that I'm swamped with at a time. But I always just try and look on the bright side, and I get satisfaction at finishing different tasks. So, finishing the things on the to-do list is a very satisfying feeling for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I agree. I think that overwhelm of the emails about getting all those notifications and all the different social media pages, it can kind of really overwhelm you quickly. I know. First thing I do in the morning is I just try to clean out my email list, my email box. But it seems like you get a lot more emails than I do, so you probably have to spend hours at it.
Yeah, I kind of have to spread it out throughout the day. I try and get to the ones that are the most time sensitive first, but like everything starts to pile up if you don't, work on it throughout the day. I think with all of the stuff I've been working on, it actually has resulted in me getting a lot more emails for a lot of different things. Because I have been working on obviously the podcast. So I have like all of the different people who are going to be the guests that I have to take care of. And then obviously, like I have my business, so people asking for quotes and people asking about, is this possible, and all of these different things. And then
You
I've
got Paul
also
Vibes, this camera, this microphone. Oh, you gotta start sending me a bill or something. Maybe it's one on the way I don't know about or something.
It's in the mail, just like yours.
Oh,
And then the other thing I've been working on is I've been trying to test out the influencer space on Instagram, which is interesting. So I wanted to learn a little bit more about what the different kinds of collaborations are and, what goes along with them. So, I went from me reaching out to certain people to like people reaching out to me. So I have those emails coming too, which is interesting.
it's a good problem to have, being overloaded with people reaching out to you about stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely a change, but I'm trying to handle it as best as I can with all of the different
Good.
emails.
So I can learn from you. I can just watch you do all that, and I'm here to support you as well. But it's good. That's a good problem to have, where you're starting to get, in the beginning, it's all about reaching out. Hey, can I collab with you? And then you get to the point where, and I'm starting to get that, obviously I'm still at the stage where I'm reaching out and I'm creating my brand. But every once in a while you get people, hey, I got this story. Can I come on your show, or can I support your show? And that's really cool to see all the hard work paying off.
100%. It's a great feeling.
Yeah. We spoke a lot about overwhelm and finding time for yourself. I wanted to ask you, because you do a lot of stuff, you keep busy, and the show's all about good vibes and positivity, and we try to incorporate ways that people can just work on themselves spiritually, mentally, physically. And I want to ask you, as somebody that keeps so busy and that's doing so much positive things in the community, what are some of your tips for people who want to get involved in our field? Obviously, there's a lot of different modalities and aspects that we for what we do, but what is like your advice to people who want to get started but are kind of overwhelmed by all the different things that's out there?
I would say just start. Like that sounds so lame, but like you can start and you can do stuff. You have the ultimate camera system in your pocket. All you need to do is either prop it up on something or just try and get like a cheap phone tripod. I have one over there.
Yeah.
And you can start taking photos, you can start taking videos, and if you have a story to share or you have something that you're passionate about, just start talking about it.
Just do
start making things, start sharing things. So like there's so many different ways that you could get involved. It's just about starting. And I know that a lot of people they're like, no, I need the right gear, I need the right this, I need the right that. No, like you can start, and you can start today. So I would say definitely just being creative and getting things going.
I like that. And remember, I was telling you, I was like, I want a different microphone from my phone to do Instagram Live. And then I did an Instagram Live video, and yes, it was a little cut off, but I was like, I don't need another mic. The audio quality sounded almost just as good. I couldn't really tell a huge difference between this mic, to be honest. It was clear. And you're right, the iPhones are capable of doing some pretty cool stuff. 4K.
I worked at a TV company where they were doing the voiceovers in a quiet room with the iPhone, and I was like, is that really what you're supposed to be doing it with? It's a good quality product, and if you have an iPhone, if you have an Android, whatever it may be, like they are working to make these things better. So if you have one that came out in the past couple of years, you're already in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it's like an all-in-one media device. You can do your vlogs, your YouTube videos, you can do your Instagram posts, everything you want to do there. Now, what else, for the mental health aspect, keeping balance, people who want to get into this field, it's easy to get overwhelmed. And as you and I
Yeah,
spoke,
I
it's
live there.
easy.
I live in the world of overwhelm. So
So you asking the
I'm
viewers for
trying to fix
tips?
that.
What have you learned over the years of doing this? Because I'm sure you're still like, I don't know about you. Do you ever have days where it's like, I know better? How did I wear myself out? I know better than this, And
Mhm.
it's like, do you have moments like that as well?
I do. And it's the worst thing because when it happens to me, it's usually like day 40 or something of me running and running and running. And then I am just out of commission for like 5 days. And like I need to like find a balance and I'm aware of that. And that's what I'm trying to do with the weekends and everything now. Because clearly I wasn't doing that. But everyone says you got to watch out for burnout or you got to watch out and you have to take care of yourself. But until you have that idea planted in your head, sometimes it's hard to remember to do that.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to build like I said, nighttime or something like that, where I can just kind of separate myself, even though sometimes it's hard. Like I'll find myself like on Instagram doing something and I'm like, no, I shouldn't be doing that. But it's just kind of like a habit at this point for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's all about, just trying to find a balance.
I like that, and you're always on. I don't know how you do it, and all your stuff is such high quality. And I'm being vulnerable right now. Like for me, I think I had to really realize that everybody's on their own journey, and sometimes I don't know about you, and I'm sure you've experienced, people you know have experienced this. Sometimes it's challenging not to compare yourself to others. Oh, do I need to be posting twice a day? Do I need to be doing this? Do I need to do that? There's people who haven't even started video that have been wanting to do videos for years, and I think if we're just out there doing what we're doing, it's not so much about posting every day. It's about doing what fits your lifestyle, your schedule. Because just the fact that you're out there making content, you're ahead of the game because there's so many people that aren't. There's so many people that just browse through but they're not content creators. And I feel like content creators need to be easier on themselves. Do you agree with that, or how do you
Oh,
feel
I
about
agree
that?
with that. Yeah, I personally, like you said, I'm posting 2 times a day, but that's because my plan was to test. Hey, can I like post like an influencer, and it's a lot of work, and you have to figure out what works for you. Before the pandemic, like I was posting once a day, and I was like struggling to keep up with that. So like it's about figuring out how much you can handle and like figuring out what the quality you want to represent yourself is.
Yes. How's the 2 posts a day going? Are we going to increase it? Are we keeping it the same? We're going to lower it, or do you feel like you're able to keep up with it?
I mean, I've been able to keep up with it currently.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I will be able to keep up with it when, I have to go back to shoots and things like
The
that.
real world.
Um, I think that it definitely helped me with some of like my growth, but it also probably was like a reason that I probably got a bunch of people unfollowing me. So you have to figure out what
Yeah.
works. And once you figure out what works, the audience will come because
Yeah.
if you're figuring out what you're passionate about and what you want to talk about in your content, like there is an audience for every topic, but it's just about, finding them and them finding you.
Yeah, and I feel like your posts are always positive. And this is a interesting question I just thought of, and I don't know if you've gotten this much. You see a lot of stuff with media and photography and the whole LA vibe and fashion and movies. It can be, not all the time, it can be very superficial and
Mm-hmm.
very fake, and the photoshopping and the egos that are involved. How do you juggle that when you get into this field? Because you seem someone that's really down to earth. You don't seem very superficial. You seem very just genuine. How do you balance that? Because in this field, you are going to encounter a lot of people with big egos. So I'm curious how you kind of navigate uh, that whole aspect.
Hmm.
I know it's a different question.
I'm trying to think of how I want to approach this. So I feel like there are different kinds of egos and different kinds of things that like in any field you have to deal with.
That's true.
I would say like there's the like on set person with an ego. There's like the person online who carries themselves with an ego. And it's one of those things where you have to approach the situation and figure out like, is it worth going against that? Is it worth using that to like help the guide through the project? Like there's so many aspects in that. I like to stay, approachable and as someone that you would want to work with. personally. So I don't go around saying like, oh, look at all the things I did and look at my amazing picture. I try and, be relatable and someone that, you would trust to work with on set. Some people, the way that they carry themselves is, I've been doing this for 30 years. The way that I do it is right. And, you're wrong for anything else. And, that's up to whoever the consumer is to figure out if that's the person they want to work with. But I just choose not to participate in that kind of, I guess, way of carrying yourself.
Cool. And I think it goes back to, you said you want to offer value, it's not all about the likes and the follows. It's about putting out good content that you think people would enjoy. And most importantly, I think you need to enjoy what you do. And it seems like you really do enjoy the podcast. You enjoy the little videos that you make. They're fun, and you can tell that you're enjoying them.
100%. If I wasn't enjoying doing the podcast, like, why would I be on episode almost 50? Thursday is going to be episode 50.
When was your first podcast? And because I know you've been ramping them up since the quarantine.
So the first person that I had on was my acupuncturist, actually. So we spoke a bit about I guess, what is it, Eastern medicine or Western medicine? I always get those confused, but like Chinese herbs and things like that, or where you can incorporate certain things into your food. Like the way that Chinese look at food and medicine is like, food is medicine for your body. So if you eat for the certain symptoms that you have, then it's going to help relieve those symptoms. So we talked a bit about that on the first one. And, I've had everyone from like personal trainers, obviously motivational speakers like you, and like everyone in between. So, it's been really interesting. It's been an interesting ride.
No, it's fun. I love your podcasts. Even in the podcast, I get to only go on for a minute or two. I like it because you're interactive. You're getting questions from the comment box, and people from the community are very engaged, and you respond to them and you try to get them involved. And it's funny because I had that same philosophy as a speaker. Even when I do my podcast, it's like we're going on this journey together. It's not just you up there speaking and having a monologue. Like, you're there having this journey with them and going arm in arm. And you seem like with everything you do, you kind of really, bring in the community. I think that's one of the reasons why you're growing so rapidly, is your ability to engage your community.
I mean, the goal from day one was to do it live because, I can get those comments and I can get the response. I originally started on Instagram Live, but, Instagram Live didn't have the features that I wanted. And also I didn't want the comments coming and covering my guests.
Yeah, that's always annoying.
Yeah. So I switched it over to Facebook, and I have a background in live streaming. So, I built my studio, and I just, went from there.
Yeah, and that's one of my goals. I think you've definitely inspired me and pushed me to really get into the live. Same thing with BBT is I want to be able to get comfortable. And you said just doing it. You don't have to overthink it. I think especially me, I don't know about you, sometimes I overthink things. I think that they're more complicated and challenging than they are. And it kind of psychs me out. But I'm saying to myself, by next week, those podcasts that I have planned, I'm going live. So wish me luck.
Hey, I know you're going to do a good job. It's all about, just diving in, figuring it out. And I think that once you figure out like where the buttons are and everything and how to do it, you're going to be good to go.
I shouldn't have pressed the wrong button though, not the detonation button. So I have a question for the people watching that may want to be a guest in your show or support your show or the different services. Maybe you can tell us quickly again, just an overview of the different services you offer through your production company.
Oh, wow. All of the services.
All of
I
them.
do a lot of different things. So I wear a lot of different hats. So it's me, and I have a bunch of freelancers that work with and for me so that they know the style in which I do everything. So I do photography, whether that is headshots or event photography or anything in between. I've done family shoots. I've done everything. But a lot of what I do, and I would say the majority, is in the video space. Whether that is me coming to work with a small business to make something for their website or social media, or, I've done a lot with businesses with like internal, videos, whether it's like a training video or something like that. What else have I done? I've done obviously live streaming. I've done event video, event everything. I've shot like Pitbull in concert. Like I've done a
Wow.
little bit of everything. So I
The
do
artist or the
that.
dog? Imagine if it was just a dog and not the real
Both.
artist.
No, I'm kidding.
Both?
Both of them. No, I'm kidding. And the last thing that I do is brand consultation. So, I help people figure out what they want to carry their brand like online in terms of photo, video, descriptions, whatever it may be. And I think that's a really important thing because photo and video can help with pain points in business. You just need to know how to correctly execute what you're doing to solve that problem. So those are a few of the things that I do. I probably do more things, but it's like 5:00, end of the day, and my brain is not working as well as it usually does.
Well, it's still working. Listen, we're getting, later in the day, and you see them all there, And what's funny, speaking of being busy and everything, we had an understanding. Like I think we both can relate to how busy our lives are, and we had to push our show a little bit forward in the day. And I think we both were cool. We both had a lot going on. We needed more time to do what we needed to do, but there was a sense of understanding. Like we know what the life is, the hustle. We understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah, I
important.
think the second I sent you like the refrigerator going down my
I was
stairs,
like, yeah.
you're like, do you need a little more time? And I was like, yes, I need some more time.
But I have to say, for the people watching this, whether they're friends of mine or yours, like I really, I would definitely recommend you as someone to help with branding. I mean, just watching your content, your free content, you offer so much value and things that I incorporate into my own brand. And I would love to throw you at the end of my podcast, because if I can get you one customer or just a friend or a connection, like I really think that what you're doing is awesome. And I can't imagine for the paid services, like what you can do with people. So definitely send me something my way so I can throw you at the end of my podcast, because who knows who's watching. There's a lot of people that are watching our content, and I wish I could do what they're doing. I wish I could do half of what they're doing. And I feel like you have a message of like everybody can do this, right? It doesn't require a certain person. I really feel like everybody can do this.
Yeah, I would say everyone can do it. Some people are going to do it better than others, and some people need help. So that's where, I come in and I help. But, you have to have the mindset that like, we are going to start this, or I am going to start this. And, that is step one, being comfortable with the fact that like, I'm going to start this new journey.
Yeah, and being comfortable not knowing everything. And I got to say, I think I mentioned to you in my podcast, one of the things that led me to be a speaker and to do the things I do now is overcoming my own learning disability. And it made me realize at a young age that it's okay to ask for help. And there's this philosophy, there's this spiritual, I forgot who teaches it, but I think a lot of people bring it up, is that, I feel like I'm a student at everything, a master at nothing. And that's not to put myself down, but it's to remind myself that I'm a student at everything. There's always something to learn. There's always something to improve. There's always something to work on. And any interaction I go in, even if it's someone that I might know a little bit more in a certain subject, I'm always open. I want to be like a sponge.
That's a good philosophy. And yeah, I'm kind of the same way, because, whenever I try and, learn a little bit more about a topic, or when I'm doing all of these conversations, I'm just taking in information as I go. And, maybe it'll help me down the line. So
yeah, it does. It does. And, you could tell that people that you're having on the show, even though you know a lot more in certain subjects, you give them a platform to share what gets them passionate, what gets them excited. And even myself, when I'm speaking at schools, I say to the students, I'm like, listen, you may not want to be a motivational speaker, but I truly believe that there's a subject that you know better than I do. And you could be up here speaking a lot better on that subject with some work than I could. And I think that we all have that potential.
100%. I definitely agree. And, it's all about just, I don't know, figuring out what it is that you're passionate about, because that's the key to everything.
And is that something you do with your clients? Can you help people when they're building their brand, kind of figuring out what their style, how to promote them? Is that stuff that you work on with clients as well?
Yes, I work on the consulting end. Whether they're executing it or they have, a company that makes their content. When I say makes their content, I mean like a graphic design company that like makes whatever it is that goes out on their social media. we figure out, you know, what's the angle that's going to best represent the business and the style. And like, for instance, like if you're doing like, I don't know, a high-end restaurant versus like a family restaurant, you're going to carry yourself very different. So it's all about harnessing what the representation of the brand is and incorporating the message that brand wants. So, you know, if the brand is like, I don't know, like farm to table or something, like you want to make sure you incorporate that in all of the things that you're doing.
Listen, if you're going to do a farm to table restaurant, there better be a farm in those posters and a table.
Exactly.
You need to have both. If you don't have a farm and you don't have a table, you know what? Maybe I should do the brand marketing. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, I mean, you can take a
Let's
stab
just joke
at
right now. If we're doing a farm to table ad, so we got to have the table, got to have the farm, maybe some fresh eggs in the imagery, like a cow, free range chickens. What else do we need?
Well, I mean, in that example, yeah, like if you can incorporate that kind of thing, or like if you're taking pictures of the food, you know, you have like, I don't know, a wood table, or like you have some greenery in the background, or things that remind you of the fact that like, hey, this place does very like healthy organic food.
Yes. Where all the chickens and cows have names, you know, they'll have names and everything. All right, before we get too silly. But speaking of style and vibes, you got great style, you got great vibes, and you really bring out the best vibes in people. And I appreciate you coming on my show, and I hope that we can continue to partner up and do videos together down the road. Obviously, I'm going to have all your links in the description, but just share with the viewers, you know, where they can find you.
Where can they find me?
Where can't they find you?
Exactly. They can Google my name and I'll show up everywhere. You can find me on, I guess, Facebook at Celia Werner Productions. You can find me on YouTube. It's under Celia Werner. You can find me on Instagram under either Celia_Werner or Celia Werner Productions. I don't know. I just joined TikTok. It's also Celia_Werner. And most of the things that you'll find me with is that same handle, Celia_Werner. And then my website is Celia Werner Productions. That just was a lot of like the same thing, but different ways.
Different ways. And I'll link in the description. Is there anything you want to share with the viewers, or anything that you having coming up that you want to just notify people who are watching? You always got something in the works, or a motivational
I would
quote.
say just come join me on all of my journeys. I provide a lot of, you know, value in my content, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook. The stuff gets duplicated over to Facebook from Instagram. But I just want to help as many people as I can. And if you guys want to come along for the ride, you're more than welcome.
Cool. Well, I'm along for the ride, and I definitely recommend anybody watching this definitely go along for the ride. You got lots of good vibes, and yeah, hang on here a little bit longer. But I just wanted to say to the viewers, thank you for watching. And Celia, I hope that you come on the People's Podcast again soon.
I would love to. Just let me know when, and I'll make some time.
All right. In another hour, I'll have another podcast, okay? You probably got a lot going on. We're going to have you on in the coming months again. Celia, thank you so much. Let's send the viewers good vibes as always. Talk to you guys later.